Right. Hello. Welcome to programming. Um, Today I'm going to show you how to get started and walk you through some of the first basic concepts to learn about programming. If you have any experience programming already, hopefully this all seems familiar. We'll be using JavaScript, but um, it's the same idea as you would learn in any programming language. Uh, just the syntax, the way you write it, is a little bit different, but the concepts will all pretty much be the same in pretty much any language. So to get started, you probably want to use Google Chrome. I'd recommend that for you. I've been using Firefox, so I'm going to keep using Firefox, but it doesn't matter. Um, and we're going to go to a site called repl.it.com, replit.com. And you can, you'll come to a page here. I don't think yours will log you in right away. In fact, I'll log out for you. So this may be what you see. You're going to go to log in, and I would say for you guys, just click on the sign in with Google, continue with Google button here. Just use your Newman account. That's a Google account, and that'll just authenticate you and create your account set up for you. I'm just going to use my normal one I've already used. And then you come to something like this. I think you might get a questionnaire asking you about what programming languages you know, what experience do you have, what are you interested in. You can skip all that, or you can fill it out. That's kind of up to you. I'm going to pause here for the prayer. Okay, so at this site you can skip your questionnaire. You'll see buttons like over here for create with a plus sign. You might see something here. You'll see something up here. Any of those do all this, they all do the same thing. We're going to make a new REPL, they're called. And you're going to look for this thing right here. It's together, these languages are called HTML5. That's why you got a shield with a little 5 on it. It is the languages HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. This is for building websites, basically. But you can also build some web apps that are, but this is more for on the user side, what we call the client side. It's not really for like a server. That you could use something more like Node.js, which is also JavaScript. But we're going to be looking at just simple programs that will run locally just for you. So we're going to go here, and we can sort of name it whatever we want. I'm going to name this one Prod Test 1 Fall 2022. You can call it whatever you'd like. Something like that would be fine. Then once you got it, the language selected, and you give it a name, just click Create REPL. After you create it, you will get a pre-built website. It might look a bit like this. It'll take a second to load. Once it's loaded, you will see some pre-built stuff. So you got some text, some what's called HTML code, which is in your index.html file. You can see your files here. You can see here that there is a link element which links to a file called style.css. You can see what is in that file here. We're currently on CSS version 3 something. So here is your pre-built CSS. And you'll also see in the index file that it also has a script attached to it in the file called script.js. And that you can find here. So if you click run, which it already ran for me, you'll see nothing but something that says hello world. And in this area here, you'll see that in the body of our HTML, there's the words hello world. If you don't want those words there, you can delete that little sentence. And if I run it again, the page is blank. So you could do that. That's fine. So what we're going to do is, we're kind of in this class, if you took web design, you would have started by learning some HTML. We would have spent a lot of time on CSS, and we would have spent a lot of time making mock-ups in our graphics editors. We might have done a little bit of JavaScript, but in this class we're going to jump straight to the JavaScript file and work mostly here. One thing that you could do is you could go, like right now I've got it split this way, so it's kind of, I got sort of like a horizontal layout here, and they're sort of stacked on top of each other. You can change your layout. I think it's over here. In the settings, you can do side by side instead of stacked, so then your preview page is over here, and you can sort of move that around, and your code is here. Just click this to make that go away. Click this to see your files. Click this to hide that. Give yourself more room to type. Another thing you can also do is you can change your font size. I'm going to go to I think that's a good size font for this, for videos. If I was on the projector, I'd probably go to huge. But if you have good eyes, and you could go to smaller if you want to see more on your screen at once. Let's see. Where do I find this stuff? Okay, so if you don't like how bright it is, you can go to this thing here, and you'll see a little moon. And if I click that, I can go to dark mode. So you may prefer this. I think I do. If I was on a projector, I wouldn't do this. I'd do the light mode, but since we're doing a video here, I think I'm going to do a dark mode. So because we're in the script.js file, I don't really need to see what file I'm in anymore. I'm just going to type here, and I am going to, I'm able to type my script here, and it should run. Okay, so that's getting set up. Hopefully you were able to set yours up like that fairly easily. What is this? That's a chat, okay. Let's see what happens. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you is that in order to output stuff, like this script will sort of run in the background of a website. So we need a way to output what we have, or something that we want to see. So I need it to output information to me. The way to do that is to access an object called the console. So you can just type console, and then you can type a dot to access things that the console can do. So console, one of its many features is log, and then I can feed it inside of a set of parentheses, information that I want it to log in the console, that I want to output. So I could output the number 100, and then I'm going to run this, and let's see where that shows up. This is kind of a new look for me, so I don't know where it shows up. Let's see. Normally it just kind of, there's a console that pops up at the bottom here. There we go. I have to turn on these developer tools. So normally, before it was there by default, but I guess now you have to toggle it. And if it's kind of too tall, well, you used to be able to shrink it. I guess not anymore. Whatever. Anyway, if I pull up those developer tools, I see my console here. I can see the elements on the page. You know, here you can see the HTML, and here you see the in the head you can see the, well, forget about that. You can see the script connection there. But we want to be in the console here, and you'll see that it has put into the console the number 100 because I told it to log the number 100. I could give it another command, console.log 500, and And if I run that, let's see what happens. A little slow. I don't know why sometimes REPL's slower than other times. It seems to be really slow right now. Wow. Let's try that again. I'm going to refresh the page because it doesn't seem to be making any connection whatsoever. Okay, let's try that again. Console log 100. We run it. There it is. Console.log 500. Run it again. So you'll notice that and then it clears the console and it runs those two lines again after it cleared it. So you'll get a 100 back and then a 500. So one thing you may have noticed is that this thing does autosave for the most part, but did you notice for a second that it wasn't connecting to the server, and I refreshed the page and it didn't save the last line that had not run yet? So it mostly autosaves, but there could be a little bit of a hiccup there, so just be aware of that. But for the most part, you could just close this and it should save where you were at for the most of what you have, as long as you don't type something and close it right away. If you wait a little while, it will sync up with the server and autosave for you. Okay, so console.log is how we output some stuff here so that we can see it. Right now I've outputted some numbers. I can add numbers, so I could say 100 plus 50 and run that, and it logs 150, 150 the number. So I can add my little numbers here, and it will compute the result, and then it will log the result of the addition. So that's, you have number data, and you have operations like adding or subtracting or multiplying. You can use an asterisk. There you go. 5 times 6 is 30. 50 times 6 is 300. Add 100, you got 400. So there you go. This is console.log, and it just logs things for us, and we can put numbers in here, and we can even do some math if we'd like to. Division works as well. So 3 times 50 is 150, add 100 and you get 250. Alright. Well, numbers aren't the only things that you can put in here. You can also put in text. But like if I put in dog, let's say, I want to log the word dog, you will notice that I get an error because in programming you can't just type words and expect the computer to know that it's a word. There's other types of things, and we will get to that later. But right now, I'm going to double click on this and type a quote mark, and because I had that selected, what it actually will do is wrap it with quotes. So now I've got dog in quotes, and now if I run it, it says dog. It logs the word dog. So if I want to work with text, I have to use quotation marks. You actually can use double quotes, or you can use single quotes, and that also works. We'll kind of go into why you have two different types of quotation marks that you can use, but that's something you can do. Now, there are operations that you can perform for text. Actually, the word that we use for text like this is called a string. So text inside of quotation marks we call strings. You can kind of think of it like there's beads on a string. Well, there's characters connected in a chain. I guess you can think of it that way. There's strings. I'm going to go back to the double quotes, and so here I got console.log. I want to log the word dog. What if I add the word, hey, I'm just doing a video here that I'm recording. If I want to add to this dog barks, I'm going to run that. And you'll see that your output now is dog barks, all one word. So there's no space here. When you use the addition operator with two strings, it will join the strings. It'll make it like it's all one string, just sandwiched together. If I want a space, I've either got to put a space here, or I could put it here. That works. Or I could add another string in the middle, which has nothing but a space there. That's 3 different ways I could put a space in there. And now if I run it, I get dog barks as 2 separate words. So you are able to add strings and they combine. I don't believe you can subtract strings. Let's try that. This is not a real thing. It returns not a number, NaN, which means it's kind of like an error. It didn't break the program, but it can't use this like you would like it to be used. So this is, I guess, your first little introduction. You have 2 different types of data. You've got numbers that we can work with, and you've got strings that you can work with. With numbers, you have operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. While with strings, you pretty much have addition, which means to join the strings. So that's it for the first one, and I'll see you in the next one.